Coming to you live from the Black Goat 39 studios, this is the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 94, The Year in Review. Now here's your host, the Guru of Sports. Hello, sports fans, and welcome. Welcome to episode 94 of the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. I am your host, the Guru of Sports, and I want to say thank you for just tuning in. Just podcast is being, done right now. And this is, December 31st, final day of the year. And I want to say thank you for your patronage. I want to say thank you for subscribing. I want to say thank you for listening. This is, final day of the year. And I want to mention that, I'm coming to you from the Black Goat 39 studios, and you're probably kind of thinking, wrong, why you ain't on the road right now? Well, I got a little secret to tell you. I'm in the protocol. I tested positive for COVID-19, but I'm okay. I feel all right, and believe me, I'm okay. I'm a good, I guess I'm a pretty tough SOB when it comes to it, but I'm okay. I feel okay. But precautions that have to be taken. I wasn't really feeling good a couple days ago, and I just felt like I was tired, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't nothing major, so I went and got tested, and it tested positive. And, like I said, a lot of people might say it might be a false positive, whatever. I knew, my thing is, I know when I get sick. Some things I have to go check out, and some things I can just let go. But, I didn't feel really bad. I didn't feel different. I just felt like I was exhausted. So I had to go check it out, and I did test positive. Okay, now, so much about me. I wanted to let you guys know that what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the year in review and some of the things that happened on this podcast. And I want to say, hey, thank you once again for subscribing to this, taking the time out to listen to me. What I do, and I put up with all this stuff, and I act all crazy and wacky or whatever, but I really appreciate you guys listening to me. It means a lot. It really means a lot, because I want to say this. A lot of times, a lot of people can, make their own brand and do their own thing. I always had a dream of being on, being a sportscaster, or being on ESPN, or doing something like that. It might not happen for me, but the thing about it is that I have this platform that I can do my own thing. I can have this podcast where I can schedule people that I want to talk to, or I don't have to schedule anybody at all. But I want to say that, hey, you do the things that you like, it'll never be work. And it's true, because what I do, I don't really work. I enjoy it. I enjoy what I do. Yeah, I drive a truck for a living. But I just love traveling. So that's what I call it. I call it traveling. I don't call it work. I call it traveling. I have a great time doing what I do. And this podcast is something that I really enjoy doing. And I just want to let you guys know that, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to give back to you everything that I know, everything that the Guru knows, and everything that I can do to, put out a good product as well. Okay. I'm going to break it down into 4 sections, just like I do on my regular podcast. First section will be the first 3 months of the year. Second will be the next 3. Third will be the next 3. And then fourth will be the final 3. But I want to go down the list of all the things that I think that would, we did or kind of impact the podcast, and it kind of impacted on what was going on in the world of sports as well. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a short break. I'll be right back. And then what we'll do is we'll go into January, February, and March. Give me a few seconds. I'll be right back. This is the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 94, the year in review, right after this. Welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 94, the year in review. Okay, let's get right into it. I just want to tell you guys that I really, really appreciate this. And, like I said, this is December 31st, 2021, the final day of the year. And this is the final day of, all the, stuff that goes on. Like, we'll have the countdown in about like maybe 17 hours or so. And if you guys are wondering why I'm not on the road, I'm in the protocol and I'm just taking it easy. Resting up, getting ready to go back to work on Monday, hopefully on Monday. Okay, now I did have clips, but I don't want to play the clips because the clips are too long, and some of the things on there I wanted to, preserve because some of the things that you might hear would be a little bit too much, because I definitely want kids to listen to this as well. So I wanted to make sure that everybody can listen to this. Okay. The national title game went to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, and Najee Harris destroyed my Ohio State Buckeyes, which is, I you know what? I knew that Ohio State would not have a chance. And I hate to say that because I am a big Ohio State fan. And I love my Ohio State Buckeyes. But they went up against Alabama, and Alabama was just basically a dynasty. Players on there, those three players that I mentioned, they're all in the NFL. They're all doing pretty good in the NFL. And believe me, they are a tough dynasty. And they're right back in it here in December and getting ready to go up against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Okay, but the big thing I like about Ohio State's season, they only played like maybe 6 or 7 games. But they ended up beating Clemson and Big Mouth Dabo Swinney, who said that we didn't earn the right to be there. You know how I feel about the word deserve. I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, I want you guys to know that Ohio State did pretty good to get into the championship. But, Alabama was just too much. Definitely too much. Okay. On the 6th of January, we learned of the passing of Tommy Lasorda, one of the great ambassadors of the game. And he was a legend. And it seems as though that, like, for the next couple of days, we just heard some bad news all the time. And the worst news was we found out that Don Sutton had passed away on the 18th. And the worst of it was yet to come when we found out that the all-time home run leader, to me, Hank Aaron, passed away on January 22nd. My childhood idol and someone who I had always adored as one of the greatest guys of all time. The stuff that he had to go through, the death threats, the letters, the hatred of breaking Babe Ruth's record. It just was uncalled for. But, that's my opinion. But I really, really, really miss Hank Aaron. And I think that he impacted my life as being one of the greatest people, not athletes, just human beings on this planet. Great, great guy. The 14th seen another terrible thing. The Jacksonville Jaguars hired Urban Meyer, which was a big mistake, but they hired him on the 14th. And I'm going to mention that fool again later on in this podcast. Okay, that's what January had. I'll be right back in a second with February. Give me 1 second. I know I'm supposed to continuously run this, but I need to take a break. Give me a few seconds. I'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 94, the year in review. Okay, we're in February, and in February we found out that Tom Brady still had it, and he led the Tampa-bay-Bucaneers over the Kansas City Chiefs, and they won the Super Bowl. For Tom Brady, it was number 7, putting him in a unique class of anyone, 7 Super Bowl wins. Not too many people have 7 Super Bowl wins. Charles Haley has 5. A couple franchises have 5. Now he has more Super Bowls than the New England Patriots, the team that he played for. So Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl was one of the biggest things in February. One of the tragic notes that we heard about in February was on the 23rd when Tiger Woods crashed his car, and we didn't know if he was going to make it, but Tiger Woods' crash was still a mystery, and we just didn't know what was going on. But we'll be mentioning Tiger a little bit later on. I also found out the tragic news that one of my favorite DJs from WDAS FM in Philadelphia had passed away, Mr. Tony Brown. Tony Brown was an icon, and he was one of the DJs that I grew up on, listening to the Quiet Storm and introducing us into different genres of music. Jazz, rock, soul, everything. Tony Brown was an innovator to where he basically had transformed like from one day into the next day. And it was something different that I never even heard before. But when Tony Brown did it, it was something special. Now, one of the good things about February is that I got a chance to sit down with a hip-hop legend. And hip-hop and sports just go together, sort of like peanut butter and jelly. I really like this interview that I did with Mr. Danny Rivera because putting out his story and letting people know that he played a big part in my life and, for what he did was something remarkable, something great. And one of the things that, I can tell you about Mr. Danny Rivera, very, very nice, very respectable man. I've never thought that in my lifetime that I would be able to meet one of my legends, one of my hip-hop legends, and he would be just as nice as the day is long. Believe me. Great guy. We talked about how he became the first person, the first rapper to rap in Spanish, and the first bilingual rap on record. And we sat there and we talked for about 45 or so, and we basically just laughed and talked. And to this day, me and Danny still have a good relationship to where I can talk with him and I can, shoot the breeze with him. He's a very, very nice man. And I'm glad that I sat down and got a chance to talk to him. Mr. Schick, if you guys ever get a chance, go to the song called Disco Dream by the group called The Meme Machine. And it's probably one of the funniest raps. And it's one of the original raps and that I can remember. And he was just wonderful, wonderful guy. I really appreciate spending the time and getting to know and still being able to talk with Mr. Danny Rivera. For coming on to this podcast, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate everything that just giving me the opportunity to speak to a hip-hop legend was one of the biggest things in 2021 for me. Okay. We're going to go to March. And in March, we found out that Stanford women have won the women's title, NCAA title. And that was a big thing because I never thought that they would win it because you had Connecticut, UConn, you got Tennessee, you got South Carolina, you got all these different programs, but Stanford women came through and they won, and they did a really, really good job about it. I do, want to mention also, in March, I got a chance to speak with another legend, Dave May Jr. Dave May Jr. Is a scout for the Toronto Blue Jays. And one of the things about Dave May Jr. is that he was very, very willing to come on to the podcast. And I really appreciate his time because he's a scout for the Toronto Blue Jays. And I joke with him all the time is that he turned me into a Toronto Blue Jay fan because Dave May Jr. and I went to the same high school. And we actually got a chance to play for one of the greatest coaches of all time, Mr. Butch Simpson, and at Newark High School, our high school. And, we share that. And I just wanted to say thank you, Dave May, for your time. And, he's been on the podcast twice. And I want to get him back. And like I said, he's a big Oakland Raider fan, and, Las Vegas Raiders. And, I really appreciate him. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little break and I'm going to be right back. And I want you to listen to this story that we got a chance to talk about. Give me 2 seconds. This is the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. Before the break, I was mentioning something about Dave May Jr. And I wanted to let you guys know, and I wanted to let him know that we really appreciate you coming on the podcast. I mentioned this before, he was back on episode 6. And since it was March, we wanted to make sure that we had a baseball person that we can talk to because, baseball was back and, fans were back in the stands and we, got through the 2020 season where, the Dodgers winning the World Series. But I wanted to make sure that we got someone in that knows baseball and was really, very knowledgeable of the game. And someone that actually played the game. So we actually, got a chance to do 2 things at once. But I wanted you guys to listen to a little bit of this interview that I had with Dave May Jr. And I wanted you guys to know that it does have something to tie in with Hank Aaron. Take a listen to this. I'm talking with Mr. Dave May Jr. Now, like I mentioned before that, he was the first guest. He appeared back on episode 6 of the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. Now, I wanted to say also that once again, I appreciate your time and appreciate you coming on. Now, I'm sitting up here with a Hank Aaron jersey on. And Now, there's a special relationship between your father, Dave May Sr., and Mr. Hank Aaron. Mr. Hank Aaron was traded on November 2nd, 1974 to the Milwaukee Brewers from the Atlanta Braves for Dave May Jr. and a player to be named later, which was Alexander. I think it's Ross Alexander. Excuse me if I'm wrong. Now, do you have a story, a little something about that trade that you remember a little bit, or something that your father mentioned to you?
Yeah, so I can definitely go over the kind of how he found out. He actually found out he was driving. He did all-season work. This was actually a time when they did all-season work.
Yeah.
They had another job, and he worked for Mr. Bud Selig at a car dealership in Milwaukee. So he would appear for Mr. Selig, and he got a phone call that he was going to be traded, and and he asked who it was for. It was for Hank Aaron, and he was shocked. In 1973, he was actually an all-star, named to the all-star team. And so he was kind of in shock that he was traded. He asked who for, and he was like, it's going to be Frank Aaron, and he said he was honored at that point. Just in that, he had such great respect for Hank. The case was that Hank actually was in the Milwaukee. He actually came up through the Milwaukee Braves. Mm-hmm. And he has a lot of fond memories of Milwaukee. He was near the end of his career. He had an even better relationship with Bud Selig. As players that get to the end of their career, they tend to look step. So that next step was to be close to Mr. Selig and the Braves, the Brewers at this time, Milwaukee Brewers situation, and so he asked to be traded to that team. When my dad was traded over, they had the first person that reached out to him was Dusty Baker, and we ended up moving next to Dusty. Dusty was kind of the best. He connected the both of them together, and they started to do charity functions and things together. But the situation was that both like our families connected. The May families, the Aaron, the Bakers, we all connected in Atlanta. Even though Hank was in Milwaukee, I'm still friends to this day with Hank's son Larry, who's a scout with the Brewers. So it's a long history.
Wow, that is an amazing story. I didn't know, like I said, I knew that, when I first read this and I saw this, I was like, wow, I could probably, get a little bit of information from you about it, but I didn't know that you guys were really tight with the Bakers and the Aarons as well. But that is amazing. And if you can, would you, like I said, would you please pass on my condolences? Because, like I said, I was a really big Hank Aaron fan, and like I said, when his death, I had a letter. I think it was a couple episodes back. I had a letter that I wanted to write to him and tell him how much I really appreciated him, and I never got a chance to send a letter. But I just want you, if you can, just reach out to them and tell them that, we still have, my condolences go out to their family as well. And, like I said, it touches my heart because to hearing stories like this, it's really, really good because, like I said, the inside, the story about how they got traded, but you didn't know the inside story. And I appreciate you telling me the inside story for it. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about it. That was amazing. That was remarkable. And one of the things that I wanted to say is that, sitting down with Dave, we really he gave me the inside story, which is something that I always try to find. And, I hopefully you can hear the audio, but I want you guys to know that Dusty Baker also is a part of 2021 when he came back to manage the Houston Astros. And when the Houston Astros ended up in the World Series, guess who they had to face? The Atlanta Braves. So it seems as though that, in a way, 2021 was coming full circle with different things. The passing of Hank Aaron, Dusty Baker going back into managing with the Houston Astros, and then the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series in October, which is something that, it's like I said, it's full circle, and it seems like everything, kind of connected. But like I wanted to mention once again, thank you, Mr. Dave May Jr., for that, and I really, really appreciate it. And my thanks, thanks to you and your time for reaching out to me and giving me that opportunity. Okay, I'm going to take a short break, and I'm going to finish up with April, May, and June. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. This is the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. Welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 94, the year in review. We're talking about 2021, and we're into the third period or second period, which is the front half of the year, April, May, and June. Okay. Now, before the break, I was talking about April, and I was telling you guys that baseball returned, and, it was, cool because you had fans back in the stands, and, the Dodgers and the Padres were rivalries, and, the Orioles was playing, and hopefully they were playing good at that time. That was April, and, by the end of October, they were long gone away from the playoff picture. The Blue Jays were gaining steam, and, you had teams like the Dodgers, the Angels, the Yankees, all these teams. It was really good to see, baseball back in full swing. And one of the things that I really like about baseball, my favorite sport, is that, it just seems as though that it connects the springtime, the dawning of a new season, and, the summertime where, you can sit out and listen to a baseball game on your front porch, pull up a good cigar, which I would do all the time, and, drink a nice cold one and just relax. I want you guys to know that, baseball is, even though it's losing its popularity, it's still one of the greatest games of all time. And to me, baseball has to do better, has to improve, because they're going to lose out on a lot of generations and all is losing out. It's just going by the wayside. But the thing about it is that I still love the game, and baseball was back, which was really cool in April of 2021. Now, basketball, NCAA basketball was being played as well. March Madness came about in March, but, the calendar turned to April, and then, we had something that I'll never forget, and probably one of the biggest sports story or sports moments of 2021 happened. The Shot, Her Around the World Part 2, which was a shot Jalen Suggs made for Gonzaga to beat my UCLA Bruins. I was just so heartbroken because UCLA had fought all the way through, and they were one win away from going to the Final Four, but that shot by Jalen Suggs sank it and sunk UCLA's hopes of getting back to where they usually are, the Final Four. Okay. But Baylor prevailed, and they won their first NCAA title, and we got to give Baylor credit because, the Guru Talking Sports podcast always gives credit to the champions, and they were the champions of NCAA basketball. Okay, now we're going to turn it to May. May, we've seen a lot of different things in May, and I want to say one thing that we didn't expect in May to see was the idiot fans at games, people jumping out of the stands, running across the court. That was just like the most ridiculous thing. And just idiot fans in general. We did see Russell Westbrook, and he broke the triple-double record that was set by Oscar Robertson back in 1961. Russell Westbrook, when he was with the Washington Wizards, broke that record in May of 2021 as well. The beginning of May, I had to take a couple weeks off because of some personal things. I'm not going to mention it, but it was some personal family things. But I want you guys to know that, other than that, the family's okay. And I had to step away for good reasons. And like I said, I just wanted to make sure that when I came back, I would make sure that we, had a great time and we talked about, all the stuff that we do here on the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. Phil Mickelson won the Masters at 50, and it was pretty good thing that he did, and it was a remarkable win for Phil Mickelson. We said goodbye to a couple people, and we said goodbye to Mark Eaton for the Utah Jazz. He passed away. And we also said goodbye to comedian Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney was awesome. I mean, he was one of the guys that was made Richard Pryor's career, and just a really, really funny guy. If you ever got a chance to listen to some of his stuff, man, he was funny as I don't know what. In May, we also witnessed the Hall of Fame in Basketball Hall of Fame. We got a chance to induct Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Eddie Sutton, Rudy Tomjanovich, Tamika Catchings, and one of the biggest names that we had inducted in was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was, we had lost him in 2020. And I wanted you guys to know that I was really taken back by the speech that his wife made. And it was really, really, it was remarkable because we all knew that Kobe was going to be in the Hall of Fame. I always knew that Kobe was going to be in the Hall of Fame. And it was just a touching moment in May that Kobe Bryant was amongst the greats, immortal greats in Springfield, Massachusetts, which I did get a chance to pass by there while I'm working or driving or traveling or whatever you call it. I did get a chance to see. I know exactly where it's at. It's off the 91 freeway up in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I do know the address. It's 1000 Hall of Fame Avenue in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I'm definitely going to get a chance. I'm going to go there and check out the Hall of Fame, which is a really, really good thing for me. Okay. We're going to go to June. And in June, what did we see? We saw Ben Simmons saga begins. And, after his remarkable thing that he did in the playoffs, which wasn't really remarkable. He didn't do anything at all. He basically said that he's not going to play for the Philadelphia 76ers anymore. And that was basically it. He hasn't played yet. So we didn't know what was going on with him. Okay. In June, I did start something that I wanted to make sure that I always will keep with me and always will take with me. I started something I call my positive project. My positive project was basically just to make sure that, you keep the positive thoughts. This year has been really tough. But making sure that you shed light and treating people with respect, treating people with positivity, and trying to outdo this negative, stuff that we got going on in this world right now, especially with the way the political and all the other stuff in the world is going. We definitely need some positivity in our lives. And I started a project for myself that I'm going to try to pass on to everybody else. And I want to make sure that you guys know that, hey, you call the guru, you talk to the guru, we'll definitely be here. We'll, give you some positive thoughts, and we'll definitely let you guys know that we care about you as much as, I care about you as much as you care about us. So, as the saying goes. All right, a couple other things that we did in June was that our Father's Day edition of the Guru Talking Sports podcast was really good because me and Caden Guru had a chance to sit here and talk. And Caden Guru wrote me a letter that I still have to this day. And I always remember. And, it was so nice. I almost cried. And every time me and Caden Guru get together, we sit down, we talk, and I let him know that, I really appreciate what he did for me on Father's Day of this year. Dante Guru as well. Dante Guru, he did something really nice for me. He did a couple little things, and I really appreciate everything that my two guys, Dante Guru and Caden Guru, did for old dad Guru. Appreciate that. The final thing in June I want to mention before we go to the break was that Medina Spirit won the Kentucky Derby. And tragically, we had to talk about something that happened to Medina Spirit a little bit later. But I wanted to make sure that you guys know that, horse racing was back. And we really enjoyed horse racing, and we had a great time, doing it. Like I always wanted to make sure that I added in a few things that, was positive and, upbeat and something that was good for the podcast, always. But Medina Spirit was one of the bright spots of 2021. And that was, that happened in June. Okay, we're going to take a break right now, but we'll be right back with July, August, and September in just one moment. Stick with us. We'll be right back. This is the Guru Talking Sports podcast. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports podcast, episode 94, the year in review. Now we're in July, August, and September. I know. Believe me, Guru don't remember too many things, but, mine gets a little bit taken away, and, there it goes. Anyway. All right, in July, we said hello to the Olympics, which was scheduled for 2020, but they canceled it because of the pandemic, and now we got Olympics in July 2021. Okay, and the U.S. Olympic team did really good. They had a lot of stuff that was going on, and we did really well, and they came out on top. They had the most medals, gold medals, and I think they won the medal count as well. In July, we also seen something that we haven't seen in about 50 years. The Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA championship, and Giannis Antetokounmpo was amazing in that. Now, the NBA playoffs was going on, and we all thought that the Brooklyn Nets would win it. We all thought that the Los Angeles Lakers would have a chance of winning it. And we also got to give big props and credit to the Los Angeles Clippers, who had finally made it to the Western Conference Finals. And they had to play the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns haven't been there in a while. And Phoenix Suns ended up beating them. Chris Paul was amazing. And guess what? You had a NBA Finals with the Milwaukee Bucks, and you had the Phoenix Suns. Two of the teams that you never thought would be in the championship round. And believe me, I thought it would be the Lakers and the Nets. That would have been a really fun, but fun thing to see. But we ended up getting the Milwaukee Bucks, and they end up winning the championship. Giannis was amazing, 50 points in the clincher, and Chris Paul. You got to give Chris Paul a lot of credit. He did pretty good in 2021. The rise of that team, the Phoenix Suns, made them a very, very viable contender for the Western title again this year, or going into 2022. We saw a lot of different things go on in the NBA. One of the things that we noticed is that this team could play. This team can compete, and they were very, very good. The Phoenix Suns, lost the title, but they were pretty good. In July, we did, unfortunately, lost a rap legend, Biz Markie. I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that because Biz Markie was an innovator and a pioneer and one of the greatest of all time. Still, when he sings, you got what I need, it was funny. He will just be missed, and he was one of the greatest rappers of all time. Human beatbox. We always will remember Biz Markie. All right, moving into August. Simone Biles, her story in 2021 was remarkable because she was back to win more gold medals and put the Olympic team, the gymnast team, in total control. But what happened was, I guess she had a mental block, or she had blocks. I don't look at it as a mental block. I think it was just more or less, she just couldn't perform. And I'm not mad at her. Believe me, I am not mad at her for not being able to, do what she was supposed to do. But it's okay. I guess it's the the pressure of the situation in the moment. But you can't fault Simone Biles for trying. And I have another story about another athlete when we get to September about, just being, mentally exhausted in a way. It's not a problem. Believe me. Mental exhaustion is just something that we have to deal with nowadays. But nowadays, we have to figure out that it's out there and we have to do something about it. People usually wouldn't talk about stuff like this. But now it's an issue. And the thing about it is that people have to talk about it because some people have to deal with it. Some people have to live with it. And for your host, I have to deal with it every single day because I suffer from PTSD. But it's not about me. Thank Simone Biles for what she did and give her credit. And she's still a champion. She came in third place in one of her events after she took some time off. And, hey, it was okay. She did okay. In August, we also I watched personally, the documentary about the Malice in the Palace. And that was something that, we finally got the inside story on what happened while back about, that situation. And believe me, you can't fault Jermaine O'Neal. You can't fault Ron Artest. You can't fault none of these guys. Because if you watch the documentary, which I thought was very, very well done, it was just, something that went on, something that happened. Okay, in August, we also had to say goodbye to J.R. Richard, former pitcher of the Houston Astros. And I remember his story. J.R. Richard was one of the guys that was, came along in the 80s and was very, very a class act. Very, very humble guy. Wasn't a big winner, but he could pitch. And believe me, his pitching ability was great. Okay. So we're going to move on to September. In September, we saw the Cam Newton Saga. Cam Newton, he ended up playing for the New England Patriots, and then he ended up getting released, and then he came back with the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers welcomed him back with open arms. The 2020 Baseball Hall of Fame was the Hall of Fame was open for baseball, and we've seen that happen on September 8th when Derek Jeter, Marvin Miller, Ted Simmons, and Larry Walker entered the hall. But we also found out that there were new members coming into the Hall of Fame as well. Talk about that a little bit later. Okay, Naomi Osaka had a situation where she pulled out in the Olympics, and because she felt as though that she had mental exhaustion. And like I said again, it's okay. It's okay. She did what she had to do, and she might not play again. But the thing about it is that she wanted to do something that made her happy. And she said that playing tennis right now wasn't making her happy. So we got to give credit where credit is due. And like I said, Naomi Osaka was one of the biggest stories, one of the bigger stories in 2021. We're going to wrap up September with Justin Tucker kicking a 66-yard field goal, which now is the longest field goal in NFL history. And it came on the expense of the Detroit Lions, and they lost again. But Detroit's been doing pretty good, a little bit better than they have been. And, but Justin Tucker is just so, one of the greatest kickers of all time. Okay, we're coming right back. We're going to wrap it up with October, November, and December. And we're going to finish up, and I'm going to say a few words, and we're going to get up out of here. This is the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 94, the year in review. Stick with us. We'll be right back, right after this. Welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 94, the year in review. We're going to wrap it up with October, November, and December. And we're going to get up out of here. All right. In October, we found, in the boxing world, we found out that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder went at it again. And Tyson Fury knocked him out in the 11th round. And, like I said, that was probably one of the biggest things in boxing in 2021. Bubba Wallace won Talladega, being the first African-American to win a NASCAR Cup race. First time since Wendell Scott back in the 60s or so. The Chicago Sky won the WNBA title. And it was a great WNBA final. And Candace Parker won the female sportswoman of the year. And I still have mine, that the guy that I think was the sportsman of the year, no matter what, male or female. But Chicago Sky won. And as baseball season ended, the Cleveland Indians had a distinct honor. And, well, they're not called the Indians anymore. They ended up taking away that name, and now they're known as the Cleveland Guardians. For the first time, they will have another team name. Remember, they used to be called the Cleveland Spiders years ago. And I think they had two other name changes. Can't remember if it was 2 or 3. But I know that the Cleveland Indians are going to rest the name Indians. And they're going to go by the Cleveland Guardians in 2022. What I was saying is that when the MLB season ended, we had a record for most no-hitters in a season. Actually, we had 10, but the Bumgarner no-hitter was only, they didn't credit him with it, and which was wrong, because, a no-hitter is a no-hitter is a no-hitter. And when we go back into baseball in 2022, we won't see runners starting out on second base or whatever. And some of the rules are definitely going to go back to the normal rules. Okay. In November, we saw Knicks Go win the Breeders' Cup. And, it was a really good Breeders' Cup race. And we saw the Atlanta Braves win the NBA title. Also want to mention that, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup, and that was a little bit earlier in March, where I should have mentioned it, but, or May, when I shouldn't have mentioned it. I can't remember, March or May. But anyway, the Atlanta Braves won the World Series title, and they beat the Houston Astros. And like I mentioned before, they beat Dusty Baker's team. He was coming back, and, it was bittersweet. I guess it was bittersweet for Dusty, because, his team that he played for was the Atlanta Braves, and they ended up winning the World Series. My sportsman of the year, I know I'm not even finished with December yet, but my sportsman of the year has to be Shohei Ohtani, because he was the first guy to have at least 100 strikeouts and hit 40 home runs. and his WAR percentage was the highest in Major League Baseball and in a long time. I mean, it was like over 9 or something like that. But to me, he has to be my Sportsman of the Year for 2021. In all sports, I mean, we got Tom Brady to win in the Super Bowl. We got Giannis winning the MVP and winning the NBA Finals MVP, and for the Milwaukee Bucks to win the championship. But Shohei Ohtani proved to me that you can be good at 2 things at once. Now, for me, Guru, it's kind of hard being good at one thing, but, I'm kind of, and Shohei Ohtani was the man. And believe me, seeing something in baseball that has probably never going to be duplicated was something that it was really remarkable to see. Being able to pitch, being able to hit, and in the All-Star game where he got to show off his abilities, I thought it was one of the greatest things. And don't take anything away from him. He was remarkable. And to me, he has to be my Sportsman of the Year. Okay, as we go into December, that fool Urban Meyer got fired by the Jacksonville Jaguars, which was well-deserved because of all the BS that he, put up. We didn't need that. December 6th, we also seen the death of Medina Spirit. As I mentioned before, he had won the Kentucky Derby. In 10 races, he was 5-4-1, and he won $3,545,200. And I'm not sure if they found out the cause of death of that horse, but he died out in Santa Anita. And, it's a sad story. Also, another sad story was the passing of John Madden, which was a couple days ago. And the NFL is going to honor him because he was an innovator in the broadcast booth. He was a great coach, head coach, Hall of Fame head coach. And actually, I found out when I was playing Madden that he had passed away. And my condolences still go out to his family and everyone out there that love John Madden. Tiger returned on the 18th. Him and his son Charlie played in a tournament. And they didn't win, but it was good to see him back out there after his car crash in February. Got to give him, some really big credit, big time props for being able just to get back out there. And he said the competitive phase of his career is gone. And that accident almost took his leg. It almost took him as well. But I was glad to see him back out on the links with his son. Being able to embrace his son was a good thing. And finally, in December, I wanted to mention is that a 6-1 underdog in the MMA, Juliana Pena, beat Amanda Nunes. Now, if you guys don't follow the sport, which I do a little bit, Amanda Nunes was probably one of the best women fighters of all time. Going in the same, realm as, what's her name? Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm and all that. But Juliana Pena upset. And I got a chance to hear what she had to say after the fight in an interview. And you know what? She's going to be all right. She's going to be fighting a long time, and she's going to be there. So, we're going to wrap up the month of December, but I do want to make sure that I there's a few people that we lost this year. And I'm going to go down this list of people that I know there's not, there's a lot more, but I want to make sure that we give a shout out and say goodbyes to Walter Mondale, Colin Powell, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, Cecily Tyson, Norm McDonald, Vicente Fernandez, Dean Stockwell, Gavin McLeod, Prince Philip, Olympia Dukakis, Charlie Watts, Ed Asner, Christopher Plummer, Cloris Leachman, Bob Dole, Michael K. Williams, Larry King, Biz Markie, DMX, and Black Rob. Those are some of the people that we lost this year. And I just want to say that, 2021 has been a up and down year. It's been a lot of things going on in 2021, but I just want to make sure that I'll let you guys know that we really appreciate you. We thank you for giving us your time, giving us a little bit of, just letting me being able just to say thank you for all the things that you do out there. Thank you for tuning in and letting us being able just to say, hey, you know what? Things in this world is pretty tough, but, I wanted to make sure that, you guys know that we appreciate you. We appreciate you just being able just to be there. And we appreciate you, tuning into the Guru Talking Sports podcast. Remember to call me at 302-468-7239. 302-468-7239. We appreciate you, and we'll always say thank you for, listening to us and trying to let us take your mind off of what all the craziness of this world is doing. You can follow us on social media. Follow me and check me out at the Guru of Sports Show on YouTube. Facebook, Guru's Daily Shorts. IG, the Guru OS 39. Gmail me at gurusdailyshorts@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter at GOAT39. And Goaty is at BlackGoat39. Spreaker is our main vessel that we come out of. And Spotify, you can find us on Podchasers, iHeartRadio, iTunes as well. We appreciate you, listening. I got to give big props and shout outs to my sister in the pod game, Miss Mary Mack, the Mary Mack Show on Grief. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate your friendship, and I really appreciate your encouragement for me to make sure that I get out there. And she was actually one of the first people to tell me, hey, explore, get out there, push your podcast a little bit more. I thank you, Mary Mack, for your friendship and your advice. My man Jeff Duarte, my brother, Cali Sports News, I appreciate you, and I thank you for all the things that you do. And I appreciate, we're going to get together soon. We're going to be on, we're going to talk hockey, and I really appreciate everything that you do. Also, I want to mention, I want you guys to pay attention to a up-and-coming podcast. My cousin Curtis Peoples and his grandson, they have a podcast called The Young GM, which is something that I'm going to be looking forward to and listening to a little bit more. And like I said, I put my, I really appreciate everything that you guys do. And like I said, my cousin, and he will definitely be something to look out for. It'd probably be a force to reckon with in 2022, trying to compete up against the old guru. But you know what? We never hate. We always appreciate, and we congratulate. All right, my hip-hop brothers, I appreciate you guys. And like I said, once again, I thank my special guests that I had on the podcast this year. It was only 2 of them. And like I said, Mr. Danny Rivera, we really appreciate you. And we really appreciate Mr. Dave May Jr. for your time. Both of you guys' time is really, really appreciated. All my D-Alien brothers and sisters, I appreciate you. The D-Alien Illuminatis, the Illuminatis originals, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys so much. All the people that listen, that I shout out, I'm going to mention you guys, or get you guys on the next podcast, but I want you guys to know that I really, really, truly am grateful and thankful for your support of this podcast. Thank you for hanging in with me. I might not mention you right by name right now, but everyone that I run across and I talk to, and I send you out this podcast. I push this podcast out as hard as I can to make sure that you guys know that I care about what you guys do. I care about you listening. I care about you downloading this thing. I care about you subscribing to this podcast. I thank you once again. My crew, I want to say I have the best crew, and I really appreciate them. Cousin Aaron, I brung you on because I seen you had a format and you had something that was going on. I wanted to make sure that you got some, credit for what you do. And I would like for you to go out and adventure and maybe start a podcast on your own. Because like I said, I'm trying to do the best thing I can to make sure everybody gets a piece of the pie. It's not about me. Hey, I'm okay. I like doing this because I like doing this. But, like I said, if I can bring somebody along, give them some big props, and give them the platform that they need to promote themselves or to push it out there a little bit further, hey, I'm going to do that. Because the thing about it is that I always learned that something called reach one, teach one. I'll reach back and I'll try to bring somebody up forward and pull them in front of me and make sure that they get the credit and the big props that they have earned. And believe me, I saw something in you. I wanted to make sure that, you get your format out there a little bit. And like I said, get on out there, get above, get out in front of me and get yourself doing what you got to do. So I just want to say thank you for that, Cousin Aaron, and thank you for joining me during the football season on this podcast. King Guru, I got something for you. I know you want to get fired. I know that, sometimes, you might want to sleep in when, Guru is on the microphone, but I want to say thank you, King Guru, for your hard work. And, you'll take this with you, and we'll always remember this time that we spend together working on this thing and making sure that it's funny. Dante Guru, your advice, your help, your, behind the scenes pushing of me helps me to become a better host, hopefully, and a better, person in general. I thank you. Ray Guru, all the technical advice that you've given me is appreciated. And I thank you for always given me the greatest asset, the music and all the things that, technical advice and just being a good brother is supposed to be. I really appreciate you. I'm going to wrap this up by saying this has been a Black Goat production for Black Goat Entertainment. Copyright 2021, all rights reserved. We don't hate, we appreciate, we congratulate, and we don't steal from anybody. We always give credit where credit is due, and big props where big props are due. Always use the hashtag Guru Talking Sports Podcast. Use the hashtag big props because that's what we give to everyone. And we always want to say thank you. We're thankful. We're grateful. We are just elated by all the things that, has happened to this podcast. Turn it into something that I thought that would be able to grow on you guys. The appreciation for your patronage is the main thing. I appreciate you. Thank you once again. And you just don't know. It just means a lot to me. For you just listening to me and let me talk and let me rant and, act crazy or so. It's a great thing. Like I mentioned before, this is the last day of the year. And I want to make sure that I say once again, this is the Guru. This is the Guru signing out of here. Get out of here and enjoy your weekend. We'll see you back in 2022 and enjoy yourself. The Guru will see you next year, 2022. Take care of yourself. I know this is a long goodbye, but I got to say it. You guys take care. Be well. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.